Качнет колыбель, тихо дрема ночница, коснется лба нежной рукой. Уставшее солнце все ниже садится, скрываясь за Русью рекой. И месяц уж по небу ходит высоко, он млад нынче и златовлас, а зори его холодны и далеки, но чем-то похожи на нас. Ой, Лёля, усни, а я буду тихонько тебе напевать о ветрах, о лютых морозах, о зимах студеных, что спят в человечьих сердцах. Там хитрые змеи, там вещие птицы, там люди без песен и глаз. Они под полой прячут души и лица, но чем-то похожи на нас. Пуще всего ты узнаешь, мой сокол, о жизни великих людей, о воле невольной, о доле нелегкой, об удали славных мужей. Там дивные дивы да щедрые нивы любовь и красу берегли, чтоб снова рождались благие и счастливы все дети славянской земли.
Всем привет, дорогие друзья, с вами Макс Геймер. Будем продолжать проходить SpellForce 3. Так. Защитили мы Мурандир. Сейчас, наверное, пойдем в атаку против того придурка, который предал нас. Он сначала освободил, потом предал. Изначально он мне не понравился. Начнем. Тем более до финала не так и долго, думаю, осталось. Муродин Nexus. Так, с этим мы побазарили. Так, с этим поговорили. Так, с этой надо поговорить. Так, тут надо поговорить с этим придурком. Что нам скажет? Готов к дальнейшим действиям. Тахар, готов обсудить дальнейшие действия. Как Рейкон стал таким могущественным? Я хочу поговорить о сентенции. Как ты узнал про Мурандира? Почему ты присоединился к нам?
You didn't tell me yet. How exactly did you get
Я
here?
не рассказал, как ты здесь.
Weren't you in Greyfell when the Harbinger took over?
No, I wasn't. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here. But we were on our way back the night it happened. As you can imagine, it was a hard choice to make. But eventually, I left my pride behind and realized attacking Greyfell for the little division I was traveling with would have been suicide.
So you fled?
We retreated. The rest is simple. We went to Iskander because we had heard the rumors about your army. There we met one of your scouts, and then the elven one, Viria of Finnonmere.
Oh, she decided to let you in?
Correct. You know the rest. Your people were a bit distrustful at first, and I don't blame them. After all, they'd been fighting the royal army not too long ago. But eventually, they realized that we were on the same side.
Так, совсем недавно они сражались с королевской армией, но в итоге они осознали, что мы на одной стороне. Надеюсь, что это действительно просто знает свою. Я рад, что ты здесь. Чему радоваться? Он дебил, он казнить меня хотел. Рано.
I hope that we are.
We are.
Так,
Trust me.
I want to talk about Sentenza. His death.
Well, what is there to say? As I heard the story, he didn't leave you much choice.
So you're not angry?
For you defending your life? No. I never understood why he was so obsessed with hunting you down to begin with.
But he was acting on your orders.
Well, yes, strictly spoken, he was. You were a traitor. Or at least, that's what we thought back then. That witch hunt at Iskander, the battle at the Eye, that was his choice.
I see.
Хули, блядь, спрашивает, почему? Тут и так дураку понятно. Как Рейкон стал таким могущественным.
There's just one thing I still can't wrap my head around. How did Lacane become so powerful? How could he rally so many people behind him?
A big question, isn't it? In the end, I think it boils down to the fact that he poured salt into the wounds the Mage Wars had left in Northander. You see, it's not hard to rally people behind you if they are desperate enough. He just gave them a simple answer to a complex question, and the people believed him. Though I don't consider him a pragmatist, he really believes in what he says, that Aeonia will return once mankind has repented, which worries me even more. There's nothing more dangerous than fanaticism fueled by magical power. Your father is the best example.
Тому подтверждение. Давай обсудим, что делать дальше.
I'll go get the others.
Good.
Good. Now that you're all here, I'd like to plan how we proceed. As
Tahar, I think you should allow yourself some more rest. You were in a coma for more than a month, and we still don't know what that melding actually did to you.
Isn't it obvious? It made him more powerful.
Yeah, but where does that power come from? What effect does it have on the human body or the psyche? We don't know.
I'm all right, Scrim. Just trust me.
Fine. Go on.
Thank you. So, our objective is clear. We need to defeat the purity of light and save my mother, Angar. Am I right to assume that Lacane made Greykeep his new base of operations?
Correct. It's the center of his power, which is both good and bad. It's bad because Greyfell was built to withstand any kind of ambush.
And why is it good?
Because it also means if we succeed and reconquer Greyfell, we'll cut off the snake's head. Once we kill Lacane, the purity will fall. However, there's no point in fooling ourselves. That battle for Greyfell will be bloody, and if we want to have even the slightest chance of winning, we need to join the remaining houses.
Ultran, Hallet, and Wolfgar.
Yes. If we put this army together with theirs, we might stand a chance. Also, you should see if you can strengthen the alliances you already have, Tahar. I have a plan regarding that, so we can talk further once this meeting has been concluded.
So do I.
All right. So where do we start?
It's up to you. But before we can even think about arranging a conclave between the houses, we need to break that spell the Harbinger put on my sister Myra. Isra, any ideas?
Actually, it should be simple. We need to find the one controlling her, take the rune, and, well, destroy it in the forge.
And who is controlling her? What if it's the Harbinger himself?
I doubt it. The manipulator has to be physically close to his subject, so it'll most likely be someone in Lady Myra's army. But your rune will react to another rune's presence, so once that person is near, you'll feel it.
Good. Then I have a plan. The Harbinger has taken up position in Iskander, between the Utran and the Everlight border. You know that place, Tahar. It's where your father started his rebellion, and where Sentenza almost captured you.
The Loyalist camp. So what's your plan?
We strike in full force and take the castle. He'll be forced to initiate a counterattack. My sister's armies, the Utran army, will be the closest ones at hand.
A bait.
Yes. We hold the castle against the main army, whereas you, Tahar, and a small troop get behind enemy lines. You find the rune carrier and strike from the shadows. Obviously, you'll have to act quick. We can't hold against the entire Utran army forever.
Значит, берем замок, выманим его транспаром. Если не получится.
What if killing the rune carrier won't break the mind control?
We'll just have to hope that doesn't happen.
All right. So we take over the castle, wait for the Utran armies to cross the border, sneak behind our lines, and eliminate the rune carrier. And once Lady Myra is freed, we will try to gain the support of House Hallett and House Wolfgar.
Yes, though we'll need to take care of something else before that. But let's discuss this when the time comes.
Agreed. One more thing. This will be dangerous, and our original mission has been completed. In other words, if any of you are thinking of leaving, now is the time. Well, then we best get prepared now. I'll tell you when we head out.
Understood. Tahar, I'd also like to talk with you if you have a moment.
Corporal Tahar. A word, if you will?
Who are you?
Private Miller, Corporal. I'm from the Royal Army and came here with the Lord Marshal. We've captured someone who we suspect belongs to the Purity. He was seen in the deserted village outside this city, and he looks suspicious. He claims to be a simple courier sent to deliver a message to you, but we didn't want to take any risks. He's outside, near the entrance to the caves.
I see. Thank you, soldier. Dismissed.
Corporal?
Так.
Understood.
Так, навести тело своей матери надо.
To this day, the Shaper's magical and technological prowess remains unrivaled.
Tahar, thank Nihal if you're awake. For a while I wasn't sure you'd make it. How do you feel? Out on the battlefield, we didn't really get the chance to talk.
Could be worse.
Well, that's good to hear. It's a tragedy. The purity on the loose, with the power of the Archfire in the Harbinger's hands. Who could have seen that coming? For what it's worth, I'm sorry I have to go through this. I truly am.
Be that as it may, all that matters now is that we stop him. What about you, Iskrim? I doubt whatever bargain you struck with Lacane still stands.
You're still here, so I guess you aren't planning on leaving.
Me? No, of course not. Where would I go, Tahar? There's no way of knowing what the Purity would do if they caught me. He wanted to kill you, so maybe Lacane doesn't want to leave any witnesses. Not to mention that we're still in the ancient Shaper city, full of marvels waiting to be discovered.
Well, I'm glad you're able to see it that way.
A frown hasn't helped anyone yet, has it? There's one more thing I wanted to ask you. It's about your mother, about Andra.
Ask.
I'm not sure how to say this, but she was a Shaper, a living Shaper.
Don't talk about her as if she's already dead. Lacane only trapped her.
Of course. Sorry, I meant no offense. See, Tahar, all tragedy aside, you have to understand how fascinating this is. A Shaper who survived through the aeons. And as if that weren't enough, you even turn out to be related. I have so many questions, Tahar, so many questions. Iria said at the moment Andra and you melded, she made you see something. Fragments of her past. Now, I can't help but wonder, what was it? Did you see Mullendir in all its former glory?
I didn't see anything. It's more like I suddenly have that sense of familiarity. Especially here.
But that's even more exciting. She must have transferred some of her memories onto you. I wonder if that's part of this melding ritual. Look, Tahar, I'm not sure how to say this, but how would you feel about it if I examined her? There's so much we could learn from her, even if her mind has left her body.
Why? What are you hoping to gain from that?
You mean apart from being able to examine the body of a living Shaper? There's much we could learn. Maybe we could even find something that helps us fight Lacane.
If you really think it helps, all right, do it.
You really just said that? Right, Nihal, thank you. I'll talk to Undergast as soon as possible. His knowledge will be a great help. It'll be a while before we can start, but we'll do it as soon as possible.
Now,
yeah, do you need something? I'm a tad busy.
found out anything new?
Well, so far all I can... No,
Which means that the Shapers and...
Somehow, yes. And I'll find out how.
Goodbye.
Вместитесь. Нексус. А это что, не Нексус?
Let's see.
С орком поговорим. Чё он думает?
You said you know where we can find more allies.
Yes, I do. I'll make it short. The Ash Reavers have invaded the foot of Bargagor. If we defeat them and their leader, like we defeated Krell, their soldiers will join us.
So, we head back to Bargagor and defeat them. Sounds simple enough.
Well, yeah. Except for one thing. Kagan, the Ash Reavers chieftain. I think this invasion is about more than gaining new territory. It's personal. He despises me. And that's putting it lightly.
Why? Because you killed Krell?
No. It's more complicated than that. Do you remember the story about my trial? About Rain?
Yeah, I do. You took the Shapeshifter's trial together, and she sacrificed herself so that you could live.
Yeah, she did. To get to the point, Kagan is Rain's true brother. To this day, he thinks that I killed her.
Did you ever try to tell him the true story?
We only met once. And yes, I did try to talk to him. It ended in a fight which I won. That disgrace only added to his hatred. And truth be told, that was my last attempt to convince him. I knew it was fruitless. Our tribes lived weeks of journey from each other. And, well, the memory of Rain's sacrifice is painful enough for me as it is. I just wanted it buried, somewhere in the dark corners of my mind where I'd never have to face it again. Which, as you can guess, didn't work. I still have nightmares.
I see. And that's why he invaded Bargagor.
It must be. Bloodthirsty as the Ash Reavers are, there is no reason for them to start a war with the Fire Wielders, especially now that we unified them. He must have heard that I'm behind this, and that rekindled his hatred for me. In other words, we need to stop him, and as fast as possible. According to one of my sources, the Purity is also planning to start an attack on Bargagor. The Fire Wielders should be able to hold them at bay, but not if they have to wage war against the Ash Reavers at the same time.
So what's the plan? Return to Bargagor, drive back the Ash Reavers, and kill Kagan?
If all else fails, yes, we will kill him, for the sake of my people, and for our cause. But he's Rain's last living kin. So I want to first try reasoning with him instead. There must be a way to convince him that I'm not a liar, that I didn't kill his sister.
All right. I'll tell you when we head out.
Yes, Chieftain Czar already left before you woke up to get an idea of the situation. I know time is sparse, but we should leave as soon as possible. And thank you, Tahar. I appreciate it.
Блять, опять то же самое, нахуй, блять.
Did you ever think about what would happen if the Queen never wakes up from her coma?
She will wake up. The healers claim that she's already getting better.
They've claimed that ever since the dragon incapacitated her.
The Queen has Hibernian blood in her veins. And as long as her heart is still beating, I will... Though...
Really?
A cousin. I suppose you know about the Queen's problematic ancestry. The ability to give life has always been impaired in her bloodline. Which is why she does not have any brothers or sisters. However, it was rumored that her uncle, Anoelith, left an heir before he died. A bastard son.
It's the first time I've ever heard that.
Yes, because the Crown took measures to quiet these rumors. Suffice it to say that Queen Aelith's supposed cousin is far from an ideal candidate for the throne. But I will not go into detail on this topic. I can feel it.
Блять, я не буду больше читать диалоги, я их так буду быстро читать сам, потому что это, блять, долго, и заебешься читать их, нахуй.
I wanted to talk about Leonel.
Только вся серия идет на диалоги.
The situation seemed crystal clear. You killed 3 of your brethren. And General Nori, similar to my policy regarding the purity of light, I can now see that I was wrong. But again, it was all I could do.
I understand.
That's good. Either way, you've been pardoned. And more than that, now we're fighting I don't hold any grudges against you. And I can only hope you feel the same.
The past is the past.
It is indeed.
Tell me, Angar, do you regret helping the Purity, now that you've seen their true face?
That's a hard question to answer, and you know it. On the one hand, yes, I underestimated them.
Logical.
Yes. After all, your father did in the Mage War. The people were angry, desperate, broken. The Purity channeled and still channels these emotions. It may sound cynical to say that now, but if it hadn't been for the Purity of Light, something far worse might have happened.
That's a cold way to see it.
It's the way a commander has to see things. But that is not to say that my decision to give the Purity of Light that much power came easy. I'm not free of self-doubt and empathy to her, even though it...
However, I will not lie. Mages are a problem, and something needs to be done about them. If we don't, it is only a matter of time until a second Isamo Taha will appear and once again plunge the world into chaos.
Нам не нужна группа, которая все магии злодеи.
But so much good can be done with magic. We aren't all evil.
I know you aren't. I fought alongside battle mages for all my life. But as your father proved, the damage only one deluded mage can do equals an entire division of Northander soldiers. But to return to your question, all I did was take every factor into consideration and decide accordingly. You did the same, more than once. I've heard of the trail of destruction you've left behind on your journey. Many people died under your command.
We tried to help wherever we could.
I believe you. But have no doubt that there are many who don't. What I'm trying to say is, there might have been a better way to handle things, but I did not see it. I did what I could, and even though it turned out to be a mistake, I have no regrets.
You said that you have an idea on how we can get more allies to fight the Purity.
Yes, I do. It's someone you're already familiar with. At least, according to your friend.
You want to convince them to join our troops?
Not all of them, obviously. The Field Dog are an even greater threat than the Purity, even if most people nowadays have almost forgotten about them. What I suggest is that we strike a bargain with them. They give us a small division of their elite keepers, and we provide them with twice the amount of foot and maid...
Engineers and infantry for a handful of knights. Is that really worth it?
It is. The Falcons aren't only excellent fighters. Their presence will also inspire our soldiers. They're living legends.
That's not what it seemed like when I was there. High Keeper Aranor almost lost the tomb just because she was too stubborn to cooperate with the Deathmen.
Well, given that the latter now fight for the Harbinger, her mistrust wasn't that unjustified, don't you think? But still, you make a fair point. Keeper Aranor is complicated. But if what the elf told me is true, she learned her lesson.
All right, it's worth a try. When do we set out?
Whenever you want. Thanks to these Godstones, it won't take us long to get there. So I'm not expecting this mission to cost us more than a day, 2 at most. We should probably take some troops with us, just in case the canyon is still unsafe.
Fair enough. I'll let you know when we go.
Good.
Got it.
Брошенная огромная рада. Я что, тебя не уручал?
Interesting.
Ah, I was hoping you'd come by. That was quite the surprise visit, wasn't it? The Harbinger couldn't have picked a better time for his attack.
I guess you could say that. How's your injury? That blast from the barrier looked quite painful.
The blast? Oh yeah, sure. I'm as good as new. One of the perks of being a light mage. Tahar, I'm sorry. For everything.
What do you mean?
Well, what you discovered in that dungeon. I didn't see that coming, honestly. I mean, I'd always felt you were different, but an experiment of your father? And now that bastard Lacane took your mother. It's just, one tragedy follows another. Now I feel almost ridiculous thinking about my supposed problems.
I appreciate your concern, but I'm fine.
Are you? Tell me, Tahar. If you had had the choice, would you have wanted to know about your mother and how you were born?
Yes. It's always better to know the truth.
Is it? Sometimes I wonder if the truth doesn't just make it all worse. Anyway, Shaper or not, it's good to have you back. Honestly, there were times when I was worried you wouldn't ever wake up again.
I'm touched.
You better be. Anyway, in case you were wondering, I'm not planning to leave now. If you need my help, I'll be here.
Thanks, Iria. I really appreciate it.
Great. And now that we've got that out of the way, you should get some more sleep. You still look like a walking corpse. Don't make a habit out of it. I'll talk to you later.
Understood. Now would you look at that?
Tahar?
Do you?
I do. First off, I appreciate that you didn't stop me. It was what most reasonable people would have done, I guess.
I wasn't sure how you'd react.
Well, I wouldn't have blamed you, if that's what you were fearing. About 5 years ago, something happened. I was on the road, and the sun had just started to set, and I was closing in on the village where I had planned to spend the night. It was a beautiful day, really. The sky was clear, the stars were coming out, and the crickets were chirping. Just 1 mile before the village gates, I saw a woman and her son. Or at least I thought he was. And they were surrounded by 2 men and a woman. Long story short, I didn't help. I just stood there, watching it all through the thickets, like some grotesque play. When they were done, they kicked the woman into a pit on the roadside and took the boy with them.
Why didn't you help?
I've been asking myself the same thing ever since. In the end, I think it was plain cowardice. Then again, sure, there are exceptions, but most of us just stand by and watch.
And that was why you tortured the bandit?
I guess. That woman the bandit in Farland's Hope killed. I don't know, but something about her reminded me of that summer night. And yeah, I know, it was a stupid thing to do. Stupid and above all, pointless. Making that bandit suffer didn't help anyone. Neither the woman he had tortured to death, nor the one on the road, or her little boy. I just couldn't help it. It was as if some dark part of my mind had taken over.
Just be careful. I know it sounds dramatic, but that darkness, it can consume you.
Yeah, I know. Either way, anything else you need? If not, I'd like to have some time on my own. There's a lot that's been going through my mind lately. Corporal? Need anything?
You never told me why you fled Finn and Mir.
Fair enough. You've given me little reason to distrust you, so... Oh well. I already told you about my father. How to him I had always been more of an asset. Well, after my father died, I decided to become
a novice?
Someone aspiring to be a priest of Ellen. I don't know why I did it. It was something my father had always considered a backup plan if an arranged marriage wouldn't work. Part of it was probably because obeying my father was all I knew at that time.
Was it difficult to receive the novitiate?
Not for me. First of all, I was a good candidate. I was still very young, not even in my 30s. And I already knew a great deal about magic and healing. Secondly, I was, after all, pure blood. That helped as well.
What does life as a priest of Ellen look like?
Boring. Though not as boring as a Northander monk's life. You are still... Your life is devoted to worship.
But something happened.
Yes. In my first year, I fell in love. That crazy, hot-blooded, head-over-the-heels kind of love that the bards all sing about. The boy felt the same way, and for the next year it was, well, it was perfect. It was the two of us against the world. Maybe you know that feeling.
Huh. And I guess your romance didn't end well.
You guess right. But it was more than that. You know, I told you how I always felt estranged around other people. I knew how to put on a smile, how to make myself fit in, but with him it was different. Dramatic as it may sound, I thought I had finally found someone who understood me. Then there was the novitiate. Despite all the time I sunk into doing the crazy things lovers often do, I never failed as a student. Or, no, let's put it another way.
Which didn't sit well with some people.
No. And eventually, they made sure I felt it. They excluded me from everything. Stared at me when I walked by. It hurt, yes, but I convinced myself it didn't.
Did it take a toll on your relationship with that boy?
More than that. My lover's friends started manipulating him. Telling him that I only saw him as my pet. That he was a failure, and that I only kept him around to feel good about myself.
Он должен был быть выше.
That's toxic.
It was. And their seeds met fertile ground. You see, we novices all knew that only 4 out of 20 will be granted priesthood at the end of our training. And being a failed novice leaves you with a mark you'll keep for the rest of your life. It all looked peaceful on the surface, but beneath that it was an arena. And these other novices, they made sure my friend became aware of that fact. To him, I started being a rival as well. And do you want to know the biggest joke of it all? The idea that, I don't know, that he would listen to them. That he would ever reach a point where he'd put what we had below his hurt pride and his fears. It never crossed my mind.
So what happened?
Well, He knew I was curious by nature, so one night when we were in bed together, he suddenly asked me if I wanted to go on an adventure. Of course I said yes. So we snuck out into the cloister's courtyard. It was beautiful. The night was cloudless, and the old oak, our cloister shrine, had just begun to bloom. We made our way to the library building, but of course the door was locked. Out of nowhere, he pulled a key, grinning at me, and opened it. It was insane. As you can imagine, priests aren't known for being lenient towards these kinds of trespassings. We were risking our novitiate, and I didn't even know the reason, but I liked it. And we were doing it together, weren't we? It was exciting. He took my hand and we went to the High Priestess's office. We opened the door and went inside, and there he finally told me what we were here for, to open the grimoire.
Grimoire?
The High Priestess's spellbook. It was a stupid idea. And if I hadn't been so blind, so bloody naive,
What did he ask you to do?
To open it and try to read one of the spells. He teased me. Told me that I wouldn't be able to do it. Long story short, I lost control. The spell was too much for me to handle and it misfired. One moment I was staring at the pages,
How far did that fire spread?
Not far. It was put out before it could do real damage. But, of course, that was the end of novitiate. I was thrown into the cell of shame and sentenced to 12 years of polishing prayer banks and cleaning floors in the shrine.
Your lover, did he regret it?
I think so. The only bloody gratification I ever got from this. But even if he would have confessed and begged me to take him back, I couldn't have. All that connection, that trust, it was gone. Worse, it was tainted.
Did you try to tell the priestesses the whole story?
No, I just sat there and smiled. Of course I did. But my love had all his friends to back him up. To them it wasn't even a trial. It was a feast.
But you never did polish those prayer banks, am I right?
No. In the night after the trial, they still let me sleep in my chamber. Thoughtlessness, I suppose, or maybe they simply didn't care. I got my things, left. So, here it is, the whole truth. No dark secrets, no assassinations, no necromantic rituals. Just a plain old broken heart. Compared with all that shit you had to go through, it almost sounds ludicrous.
It doesn't. Being betrayed by someone you trust often hits the hardest.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, I don't get it. How could he give all that up? I mean, there was something between us, you know? Something rare, something precious. But no, he threw it all away for his fucking vanity. But in a way, it's just a continuation of what I've always known. Wherever I am, I'm a stranger. People don't like me, and I don't like them.
For what it's worth, I'm glad our paths crossed.
Yeah, me too, Corporal. Me too. I'd like some space now. I hope you don't mind. Let's talk later.
Will do.
Блять, какой долгий диалог был, пиздец. А ты не хочешь со мной замутить новые отношения, со мной роман закрутить? Не желаешь? Ну-ка. То бы я бы с удовольствием. Ну тут в игре, наверное, нету такого, блять.
Corporal? Need anything?
Отношений с спутниками, наверное, нет. Хотя интересно бы сделали бы как в Dragon Age в первом, блять, подарки там или ты чё, блять. Не. Стратегии на такое не тянут, нахуй. на романтику. стратегия, она и есть стратегия. Так бы интересно было замутить бы с этим, с Эльфивкой, с Яной. Хотя вторая девка хочет со мной наедине о чем-то поговорить. Может, с ней получится замутить. Мы сейчас в первым делом к ней пойдем. Посмотрим, что она скажет. Короче, это вся серия уйдет только, блядь, на эти разговоры, на ебаные. Так, ну я с тобой позже поговорю, Рохан. С тобой тоже позже поговорю, дебил. Так, а с этим дебилом? Вот. Пойдем с ней поговорим.
Understood.
Уром. Ну, с Уром мы уже базарили, он нам новое ничего не скажет. Ну-ка с этой. Хорошо, что ты зашел.
Sure. You wanted to talk?
Yes.
Да,
I'll be brief. While you were asleep, an elven messenger came by. Varden Merilith, one of the more here squires from Leafshade, sent him.
Merilith? What did he want?
Only that he needed your help. They, that is, he and a couple of his followers, seem to be somewhere deep in the Leafshade jungle, near the Halayish ruins.
The old Hibernian city. But what do they want there? That's dangerous.
I don't know, Tahar. We will need to find out.
All right. We might look into this.
We should. Is there anything else you wish to discuss, Tahar? Yes, Corporal? How can I help?
About you being an assassin. You said that you might be willing to tell me more about that at another time. How about now?
I'm still not certain. The question really is, do you want to know? It might change something.
Well, I wouldn't have asked otherwise. Tell me.
All right. Where should I begin? Do you remember what I told you about that man who bought me from the Greyfell Bazaar? My owner? I also told you that after an incident, he discovered my talents and made me an assassin.
I remember. But what does that have to do with your morality?
It's complicated. The incident took place at a festivity. A lot of highly influential people were there. Servants of the crown, wealthy merchants, nobles. My master knew all of Greyfell's elites. As always, at these festivities, it must have been close to midnight when a man took me into his chambers. I'd learned to play a long years ago, because resisting only made it worse. For some reason, that man wanted me to tell him that I loved him. I did, but he kept on telling me that I should say it like I really mean it. When I couldn't, he got angrier and angrier, and so I had almost lost consciousness when I felt something break. I don't know how else to put it. It was as if my mind simply cracked open, like a crystal ball smashed against a mirror. And all of a sudden, that man and I weren't separate entities anymore.
I don't follow.
My magic, my dreamweavery, that's when it broke free. You probably don't know this, but the only way to become a dreamweaver is by shattering your mind. You are opening yourself to the thoughts and emotions of others, but you lose your own.
Wait, dreamweavers don't feel and think?
No, we do. But it's differently than normal people. Me. The Iana you're talking with is the result of long work
and studying of human behavior. I know.
What happened to the man?
I killed him. It wasn't a conscious choice, looking back. I even think that shattering my mind was my body's way of ensuring survival. I closed my eyes, reached out for the man's mind, and just crushed it. The man gasped, lost balance. At first I was disoriented, but then I felt it, for the first time.
To kill him?
Yes. To massacre him. Hear his screams. To see his life taken by my hand. I grabbed a lantern that was standing on a bedside table and knelt over him, and, well, you can picture the rest. To get back to your original question, that urge, it stuck with me. I think that the moment when my mind shattered and I became a dream weaver is what unlocked it. Ever since then, I've found violence and bloodshed to be ecstatic, erotic even. And when I kill someone, like I killed that man, I feel...
Huh. And this is why you became an assassin?
Yes. My master introduced me into the craft. Probably because he knew that my dream weavery had changed me. More than that, even, I needed what these new tasks my master sent me on provided me with. Of course, I briefly considered changing my profession after my master had his accident. But I didn't. Killing is something I need, as much as a child needs the love of his mother. If I don't feed my urge, I will die.
Ты испытываешь чувство вины, это все трудно переварить. Разве способы исцелить себя? Это не то, чего я ожидал. Ну, исцелить, блять, нахуй ее цель. Пусть убийцей будет. Че ее исцелять, нахуй? Ну-ка, вот это.
Don't you ever feel guilt?
Once again, Tahar, I do not feel emotions the way you do. Of course I wonder if I made a mistake. But my reflections are purely based on theory. But then again, I don't accept just any contract. The way Leonidas described you, you were a monster in human disguise. And that's the first principle I try to live by. Criminals first. The second one is never...
But what if you're wrong? If you kill an innocent?
That has happened before. And it will happen again. You see, I do not consider myself some kind of vigilante, some kind of judge. Ultimately, I know that I am what society would call a murderer, and that I do what I do for myself, above all.
But is there no way to cure you, to return your mind to its original state?
No, there isn't.
Well, that was definitely not what I was expecting.
I can imagine.
That's a lot to take in.
I know. Now tell me, Tahar. Do you regret asking me this question? Knowing all this, do you think I'm a monster?
You're not.
Really? That's unexpected. Anyway, I would like some time for myself now. I hope you understand.
Interesting.
Yes, Corporal? How can I help?
А чё, блядь, навыка ей никакой не дали?
Goodbye. Will do.
Блядь. Заебали эти диалоги, уже одни диалоги, блядь. Не, за эти диалоги им дают какие-то навыки. Хотя интересно это все читать. История интересная, блядь. У каждого, у второго, нахуй. Одну, блядь, ёбали, бросил, одну пытались изнасиловать, она его убила. Ну-ка, интересно, у этого какая история.
So,
I
guess we have some talking to do, don't we?
You knew about my mother, didn't you? That's what you hinted at back at the forge, before we set out to the Eye.
Well, the answer is Yes, and no. But they weren't enough to go on, and I had no idea your mother was connected to the blood burn.
Why didn't you tell me?
That I believe you might be the result of your father's experiments? That you're the offspring of some long-dead, forgotten race? Tell me, Tahar, what for? I mean, at best, you wouldn't have believed me. And at worst, it would have cost you your sanity. So no, I don't think I should have told you. I didn't know if these suspicions had any substance at all. And I would have been at great risk, especially back then, when you were still part of the rebellion.
Where did these suspicions come from? Did my father tell you?
No. And he never found out that I knew. Your father... I don't need to tell you how meticulous he was, do I? That's why he always kept notes of experiments and studies. I found one. A note.
Really? He never let me into it.
I know. And he wasn't exactly trustworthy towards me, neither. But you know Isamo. His mood was never what you'd call stable. One day, he'd think the entire rebellion had schemed against him. The next day, he told us that we'd change the world. It was part of his charisma, I guess. Sometimes I think the reason why the Mage Rebellion became so big was less of Isamo's magical powers, rather than his ability to create emotions in his followers. But, so I had found this small booklet on his table. It didn't look important in any way, yet I was immediately curious.
What was in there?
His experiments in the eye. The ancient woman, as he called her. Your creation, these waxwork figures which he tried to infuse with life. It was disturbing.
That book, did it say anything about how this ritual worked? Andrew said something about how...
I don't think it can be compared to how two humans reproduce, if that's what you're thinking. But as for the details, I don't know. As I said, I barely had 1 hour. And I only got to the chapter about you in the very end.
Do you still have that book?
No, of course not. I couldn't even read through all of it, else your father would have noticed that I had done nothing of what he had tasked me with. And I have no idea where it is now.
I figured. So, why did he, well, create me? My mother said it was to gain access to the Archfire.
Yes, I think that was the main reason. Though I couldn't help but notice a certain, I don't know, warmth in his words when he described his plans.
Was there?
I know it sounds cynical, Tahar, but yes, there was. Still, I don't think you were just a tool to him. You weren't. Tell me, Tahar, knowing all that, how does it make you feel?
Заебато я себя чувствую. Да, что решил предать его, я сделал.
Marvelous.
Yes, I guess that was a stupid question. Either way, I think we both need some time to think. As I said, Tahar, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you earlier, but I simply didn't know what to do.
Understood.
Да что там по заданию-то? Велите армию, собственно, одолеть войско. Блять. Отправляйтесь в лагерь лоялистов. На бару Божа, Сионилов клинок. Ну это дополнительное задание.
Tahar, it is good to see that you have recovered. This place and these people lack guidance without you.
They did?
Yes. The Lord Marshal tried to assume control, but as you might have expected, he did not have everybody's support. I was even fearing an internal power struggle, and I'm glad it did not come. I must say, Tahar, your mother, she is remarkable. I have always wondered what the Shapers look like, and now I do. It is, though I suppose this is a difficult topic for you. Forgive me if my words were inappropriate.
All that matters is that we save her. We need to stop Lacane and get my mother's spirit back into her body.
Yes, this is our objective. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Yes? What is it?
So, Undergast, when you told me about your split with Lena...
You are asking if we were in love. Am I correct?
Well, yeah.
Then let me start by telling you that the term love is undefined and that theories about it. I have read a lot of books on it, and I've studied the poems. I myself never...
So, what you're saying...
No, was not that simple. What stood out in our relationship was that we connected. I've never felt that before. You see, Tahar, to me, the bonds people have always felt peculiar, and I am not like Yana. Her mind simply does not have the ability to feel these bonds anymore. She had them once, but then she lost. My brain is capable of feeling these things, but I am unable to connect with the outside world. I only have my own mind as a frame of reference. I can't. To me, this person's distress would make no sense what, but then there was Lena. For some bizarre reason, she understood me and I understood her. Or at least, I thought that I did. It was as if this barrier, this shell that separates my mind from others, was pervious to her emotions, and yet it changed me. All at once, I felt connected. Do you know this feeling, Tahar? You have traveled with these people for quite some time now. Is there anyone you were, well, fond of?
Да, есть.
Well, yes, there is.
I see.
Понятно.
Then you probably know how distracting such a feeling can be. To be honest, when I first became aware of that bond between Lena and me, I was horrified. I could not focus anymore. When I sat down to write my studies, I realized after hours that none of what I had written made sense at all.
Am I right to assume that your relationship ended with your disagreement over the Creators Guild abandoning its neutrality?
No, you misunderstand. We never had a relationship. Although the feelings were mutual and we, well, acted on them, we never felt the need to bind ourselves to some close-minded societal construct. But yes, you are correct. It was the disagreement that broke our bond. Quietly, she left and never returned again.
Do you feel, I don't know,
betrayed? No. By betrayal, people usually mean when someone behaves contrary to what they agreed on, or more often than not, as they would like that person to behave. I always found the word desires, wishes, and urges are natural things, and I always found the usage of such heavily judgmental words to be very childish. Lena did what she thought was right, and so did I. I have not and will never blame her for that.
And you have no idea where she and the others are?
I don't. I have heard rumors that they were helping mages in Leonider, but that was moons ago.
Много рун назад, каких рун, блядь. Это и есть, вы даже не поругались.
What, so you didn't even
то есть вы не поругались?
I have a hard time imagining that.
As I said, acceptance of one another's nature and decisions was a pivotal element in our interactions. Though I did notice that my unwillingness to follow her on her mission caused her more emotional stress than she usually would have felt. You see, if there ever...
Such as?
Well, anything. Traveling, studying the Tsarlanthet ruins first-handed, even visiting the city of Everlight every once in a while. But again, she never tried to force me. I could tell that my unwillingness upset her, but like always...
How do you feel about this?
That is a good question. I still think about her, almost every day. But the more time passes, the more this entire episode starts to feel like I do not know how I would feel if I ever saw her again.
I can imagine. Well, thank you for trusting.
You have nothing to thank me for. If this conversation helped you get a better picture of me, I'm glad. But there is one more thing I would like to ask you, Tahar.
Tell me.
Do you have regrets? Do you ever feel as if you could and should have acted differently than you did act?
Все, о чем я уже Я уже счет потерял.
I've lost count.
I understand. You see, I've never told you this, but I find your resilience to be remarkable.
How so?
Well, it is no secret that you have endured a lot of pain, especially your early childhood must have made a mark on your psyche. But still, you did not give up.
Well, I'm doing what I can.
I can see that. Either way, I think we have spent enough time talking. We should get back to the tasks at hand.
We should. So long, Undergast.
Сука, продвиньтесь, блядь, заебали. Сраник. Так, ну пойдем расспросим. Так, зелье надо купить, блядь, сколько у меня там денег-то? Зелье умений, нахуй. Да и сироп богатырскую надо повышать. Вижу смысл менять, блядь, сука, доспех вот на это. Повышает 50. Так вот так вот здоровье. Другому вот, буду сироп богатырскую повышать, чтоб дамаг был больше. Блять, вся серия ушла, блять, на эти разговоры, блять. Ну, у кого-то есть интересная история, которую можно почитать, послушать. А у кого-то нет, блять. Такая скукотина, блять, особенно вот у этого Андергаста, блять. Скучно, блять. В основном у баб история, вот у этого история тоже так-то неплохая. Ну, орка можно послушать еще. Остальных, блядь, все скучно. Опять.
How often do you want me to tell you? I'm not a spy, and I'm not with Purity.
Wait! You're their leader, aren't you? Corporal Tahar?
Yes.
Well, then maybe you can tell these fools to let me go. Jesus, I knew it was stupid to take that job.
Боже, братцы. Придуриваться уже. Шпиона-то я всегда вот. Так тоже.
Cut the crap. I can tell a spy when I see one.
What? No, I'm not. Tiara's breath. If I were a spy, would I really have been walking around in front of your front door like that? I didn't know who you were, and I didn't know you're an enemy of the Purity. I'm just a courier, and someone paid me to deliver a message to a Corporal Tahar. I had no idea it was the Corporal Tahar. And had I known, I would have told that guy who gave me the job to sod off.
Да знаю. Я бы пос... А куда подашь? Что? Придержи мне.
Who was it?
Well, he was wearing a hood, so he obviously didn't want to be recognized, but he had a brown beard, was about your height, and had, I don't know how to put it, a certain sadness in his eyes.
But he didn't look dangerous and paid good coin, so I took it.
Can I see this message?
Oh, finally, someone who asks. Yes, it's in my coat pocket, and no, there's no poison in there to kill you.
Let me see. A meeting in Everlight. From a friend.
A friend, you see? Can I go now?
Yes, go.
Thank you, Corporal. Thank you. Now, don't get me wrong, but I want to get out of here as soon as possible. Do you think your guards will let me through?
They will. Stay safe.
I'll try.
Так. Длинный новый мир. Так, блядь. Отправляйтесь, враги. Леса Искандера. Заберите способно одолеть войско. Мне неизвестно. Так, вроде все. Так. Хочу закупить зелье. Так, ну это основное задание. Шукаю ветвь. Я сюда переместиться не могу. Придурок, сука, хуй залез.
I'll make it quick.
Of the few refugees who make it to Everlight, many are shocked to find that their troubles do not end there. Though its neutrality as a city-state left it largely unscathed during the Mage Wars, the city has its own mountain of problems to struggle with. The biggest ones being the ever-growing gap between the rich and the poor, an uncontrollable rise in crime, and the Purity of Light's aggressive crusade for new followers.
Да, блять, вот усилие, блять, из-за него, блять. Пиздёж, блять, одна. Так. Надо вот сюда. А не, хотя. Давай сюда. Сразу.
Yes.
О, заебись. Так. Тут зелье есть. Блять.
Yes.
Ты дебил, сука.
What's next?
So, what's the plan?
As a neutral, apolitical association of mages solely devoted to the study of magic, the members of the Creators Guild...
I'm ready.
Заодно вот это задание выполнить. По посраника, блядь. Что за говно? Блядь, а он какого? Он какого хуя тут делает?
What do you want?
Пиздец. Это зелье могущества. Изначально создавалось для улучшения. Что сделать способно все способности. А вот зелье могущества. Так, ну надо мне что-то продать. Так, с доспехов начнем. Это нахуя мне, блядь? Шарок, что ли, продать? Почему? Странно. Уже, блядь, сука, не актуально. Сука, ебаный пидорас. Блять, да как это работает-то? Одну такую взять. Еще такую взять, да? Так, а что-то же я отдал до этого. Заебать это был. Это лишняя мне хуйня, незачем. Получше есть.
Good choice.
Так, давай попробуем. Что за хуйня произошла? А где зелье могущества?
Just give the word.
Дебил, сука. Давай теперь попробуем. О, опа. Отлично.
Axes, daggers, swords, everything for the wary traveler.
Ну, сука, еще сейчас продам барахло всякое. Блядь. Что, блядь, вообще... Ни разу нахуй не пригодилось. Оно вот умения могу взять.
A fair offer.
Блядь, пидорас.
What do we need? Now would you look at that?
Так вот. Я еще приду к тебе.
Got it.
I am ready.
Бля, пути кого буду нахуй.
Of the few refugees who make it to Everlight, many are shocked to find that their troubles do not end there. Though its neutrality as a city-state left it largely unscathed during the Mage Wars, the city has its own mountain of problems to struggle with.
Yes?
That way?
Найдите таинственного посланника в свете. Так, что тут у меня? 10 сил, ловкость. Урон сразу, он какой-то дамаг прибавился, заебатый. Какая-то способность. Это такие навыки. Дисциплина. Мастерство. А, ну это значит влияет. Как между ними выбирать, блять? А. Вот.
Yes. Something there.
Так, где тут этот посранник-то ссаный? Естественно, посланниковый свете. А где он, сука? Может, сюда надо прибыть? А вот. Так. Здесь. Так. Сюда получается.
Corporal? Очень полезно эти порталы, блять, оказались. Так, где он? Блять, нахуй не помечен.
Tahar, over here.
Bertrand, what? Did you send the message?
Well, otherwise I wouldn't be here, would I? And no, this isn't an ambush. The Harbinger doesn't know I'm here, and if he found out, well, it would get unpleasant. Look, Tahar, I don't know where to begin. I'm so sorry for what Lacane did. Taking your mother, trying to kill you, it's horrible.
Then why are you here? Have you broken ties with the Purity?
What? No, of course not. I'm here because I'm worried about you. I know what you are planning to do. You can't win this, Tahar. And all you will achieve is cause even more suffering. Aeonir will return. It's a divine plan. And it is the Purity's responsibility to see it through. The longer you struggle, the more bloodshed you will cause.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but there is no solution. The Harbinger attacked Mullendir, and his intent is to hunt down every single mage on Io. We have no choice.
You do? You could run. What? I said you could run. You and your friends. Disband your army, go into hiding, conceal your magic until it is all over and the All-Father has returned. Why so calm? I just know it. Then you will see that we were right, and no one else needs to die.
Что бы сказал?
I can't, Bertrand. I want this as little as you do, but Kane still has my mother. I need to save her.
Well, I had a feeling you would say that. Then it seems the only way to settle this is more bloodshed. I never imagined it would ever come to that, you know? And I hope it hadn't.
Пидорасы баны. Еще навыков надавали. Почему я все равно не могу больше повышать? Выносливость. О.
Yes.
Блять, что-то качаю этот навык, я его даже еще не испробовал, что за навык. Что прокачиваю. Ладно, посмотрим. Может, если я качаю.
Yes?
Самое главное, сироп повысить. Чтобы передать вот этот арбалет.
What do you require?
Вот и... Выносливость надо чуть-чуть.
Yes.
Ну на Баргора. Орк что-то нас торопил. Торопил так сильно, нахуй. Что ж, пиздец, блять. Давай возьмем.
Fair enough. Let's do this.
Меня больше повышать-то нехуя, да, получается? Внимание обратил, блять.
High Chieftain Gore! High Chieftain Gore!
Do I know you?
Zark. I'm a tracker. Chieftain Zar sent me to welcome you.
Ah, good. Where are they? And what's the situation?
Bad. The Ash Reavers have started to put up their cow to the northeast. And the Paleskins...
The Purity.
Yes, the Purity. They are only a 2-day march from the mountain.
2 days. That's not a lot of time.
It isn't. Zarek, where's Zar now? And the other ones I asked him to gather.
To the north. They are waiting for you.
Good. Go and tell them we're coming. Tahar, I won't lie. This will be a tough battle. But we have to win it before the Purity arrives. Let's head to the camp and talk to Zar and the other advisors. They'll help us establish a strategy.
Они помогут разработать тактику.
Who are these advisors? How can they help us?
You'll see.
Didn't you want to try diplomacy first?
This is diplomacy, Tahar. The Orcish version. If we'd let Kagan know we're here before we've gathered some force, he'd simply crush us. Never seek reconciliation without a display of strength. Now come.
Yes?
Gore?
Huh?
Did you orcs ever consider moving into a friendlier climate? I mean, no offense, but this place is a wasteland.
Some orcs did. The Moonskin, for example. But as far as we fire wielders are concerned, no. This wasteland is our home, and it will stay that way. The harsher the climate, the bigger the struggle, and thus the stronger our kind.
Так. Ну, посох у тебя заебатый. Что тебе, сука, повысить? Что за урон-то у него отвечает? Сила не отвечает. Фокус тоже нет. Интеллект нет. Слез нет. Сила воли тоже нет. у него, блядь? Ну, здрасте, мы повысим. Сила воли. И будет. Как это менять-то, блядь? Дорогие друзья, на этом, наверное, будем с вами заканчивать. Да, серия вышла. Такой, как скажем, интерактивный, разговорный, больше внимания на диалоги, но, к сожалению, поздно засел и поздно начал стримить.
What do you want?
What's next?
Поэтому а завтра на работу надо работать, поэтому продолжим завтра. Ладно, всем удачи, всем пока, увидимся в новой серии SpellForce.